Guys, thank you for joining us again for episode 3 of the Sports Corner. As usual, I am your host, Joe, but as you can see, Trevor is not with me as he was in the previous 2 episodes. I will let you introduce yourself.
Joe, thanks for having me. Hey guys, my name's Jack. I guess a little bit about myself. I go to Grand Valley State University up in Michigan, and there I do have my own radio show, as you know, the Well Radio, I guess it's called. I'm trying to figure out when my next time slot is going to be for next semester, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But a little athletic background. In high school, I was a 4-year basketball player. Actually, our team holds a couple records there for best 2 seasons, whatever. Known fact that most people don't know about me is I was a freshman football player. Hold my own record there.
Wow, I did not know you played football.
Well, I played. What happened was everybody plays freshman football or soccer or whatever they do. But with football, I knew a couple people playing, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll go with that. And I started out as wide receiver. Didn't get a whole lot of play time. Hey, listen, I got hands.
Okay. All right.
But I started as wide receiver, and then they didn't really play me a whole lot, so they tried me at tight end. I think I was on the B team, by the way. Yeah. And I got a game in with the tight end, and then our fullback quit. And one day in practice, the coach was like, Jack, get in there. I'm like, all right, whatever. So that next game, I still hold the record there that I know of most fumbles in one B game. 5. 5 fumbles.
Can I ask how many times you fumbled?
Nobody teaches me the plays, so I'm just kind of sitting there in a deer caught in the headlights, just moving around, doing nothing. We lost that guy.
Do they not give you a playbook when you join the freshman football team?
They do and they don't. The people that know how to play kind of got the plays and everything, but for us, they're just kind of there hanging out. They really didn't.
Squad?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If there was a C team, I would have been me, but we weren't that big of a school. But yeah, 5 fumbles. We lost that game by a good 7 scores. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's 49 points.
Yeah, sure is.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. All right.
But yeah, as for Trevor, I guess he just wanted to pursue new career opportunities. I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, honestly, it's a better asset to you if he's your competition, not co-host in my book. But downsizing is always rough. I mean, what can you do? Oh well. But Trevor, here's to you, man.
All right. So, guest host this week, my buddy Jack. Appreciate having him on. Appreciate you being here, man.
Happy to be here. Happy to help.
Yeah,
happy to chime in. See what I can do for you.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun today. So, let's go over what we're going to be talking about today. Here on the Sports Corner, we've got a little All-Star break knowledge coming at you. We had the Home Run Derby last Tuesday. We had Monday. We had the All-Star game on Tuesday. AL versus NL, MLB All-Star game. Only All-Star game that really matters in professional sports, so that's a big one in the sense of getting a home field advantage in the World Series. So we're also going to talk about a couple trades that happened this week. A big signing that'll probably affect the AL West division race coming up into August, September. The dog days of the MLB season. We got some Cubs, some Sox recaps coming out of the All-Star break. August 1st is the trade deadline, so this is a big couple weeks. We've also got Cubs and Sox playing, I think not this week, but next week on the 26th. Yeah, so that's going to be a huge deal here in Chicago. We've also got a little NFL for you today. I know we haven't seen that yet on the podcast, but we had the franchise tag deadline. Who signed, who didn't sign? Is it a good move for that team? What do we see happening next? And I think that's basically all we're going to cover today, but it should be a very, very good episode here. We're going to just jump right into this with the All-Star break. Home Run Derby. Giancarlo Stanton of the Miami Marlins hits 61 home runs, and he beats Todd Frazier in the final round there. When you hear 61 home runs...
I mean, he shattered the old record, didn't he?
Oh,
that was by a solid at least 20?
20 home runs.
20, 21? Yeah, that was pretty incredible. That was...
There was actually a woman in the second deck at Petco Park hiding because he kept blasting line drives right at her.
Oh, my God.
She was literally taking cover from these home run balls. The guy is he's an absolute beast. I mean, the size, I want to say he's like 6'8", but he's actually been struggling this year. Giancarlo Stanton's known for home runs, but this season everyone's been pitching him outside. Since he got hit in the face actually with a baseball right in the jaw area.
Didn't know that.
Right in the jaw, and he wears kind of a cover on his face now. So normally when he bats, he dives into the ball. Mm-hmm. His front foot goes in. Now his front foot's diving out. So you're pitching him outside. He's really had a lot of struggles. He's kind of turned it around of late, And this, I think, is only going to help. Normally, people say the home run derby can screw up your swing because you're just trying to kill the ball. But I really think this is going to boost his confidence going into the second half.
I mean, if he's got a whole new batting stance and everything, this is probably best practice for him at this point.
Right.
Just to try to get back into it.
I just think it's gonna help his confidence. Confidence is key when you're hitting, especially. I think maybe he could hit 25, 30 home runs in the second half. That's my bold prediction right here.
Shattering that record, he's got to have some confidence.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
I would be strutting my stuff
absolutely.
around San Diego.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God, dude. It was crazy. But he beat Todd Frazier, who was the defending champ. He plays for the White Sox now. So good effort by Frazier. It was a fun event. I don't like it as much as I did now that they put in that timer. You don't get the certain amount of outs anymore. You get you got to hit this many. You could hit however many home runs you possibly can in this certain amount of allotted time, which I think it makes it a lot more exhausting on the player. You don't get all right. I flew out to left. Oh man, let me take a few seconds here.
Yeah.
No, you just got to keep pumping. And you being the more successful athlete of us two can probably attest.
Blush.
That elbow doesn't hold up. You played 4 years for Lamont, so. What do you think kind of that high pace kind of does to an athlete? High pace, not a lot of rest. What does that do to your body?
Well, I mean, I can't really say too much about a baseball player only because I was basketball.
Right,
and in basketball, it's constant going back and forth. So from my experience, you kind of have to have that the stamina and everything to be able to go back and forth, get right back to it after somebody's, getting back from defense, all that kind of stuff. But with baseball, every time there's a pitch, there's always a couple seconds to rest before the next one. But when the home run derby takes that out, it kind of definitely wears them down a lot faster than it should.
Right. Yeah. I think that could have a nice toll on somebody. But it's a fun event. I like to see all the players out there, the All Stars with their families, kind of watching. It's a good old event. You get a couple days off if you're not participating. I think it's a really, really humbling experience for a lot of those guys to kind of see their, coworkers out there just doing their thing. So.
And plus, you got all those kids in the outfield chasing the ball.
Oh, someone got decked. There was a little girl in left field. I saw a video of it, and this probably around our age, 20, 21 years old, got at least 150 pounds in her. He's chasing the fly ball. She's looking up. He's looking up, and they just connected. And she went down.
God, that's awful.
I watched it probably 50 times. I'm not even going to lie.
I mean, I probably should check out that video after this.
We'll find that video. It was hysterical to watch.
That's fine.
So the next night we had the All-Star game in San Diego once again, home of the Padres, Petco Park. Notorious for being the biggest, pitchers ballpark in the league. That kind of stayed true to the All-Star game. You got the best hitters in the world. You also got the best pitchers in the world. Only a 4-2 scoreline. The AL over the NL for the 16th time in the last 20 years. That number.
I mean, you could have saw that one coming, but with the previous 20 years.
The numbers, you see 16 wins. That means 16 out of the 20 years, you've got home field advantage in the World Series. But that number is kind of a lie.
Why do you say that?
You look at the last 20 World Series, and it's dead even. 10 for the AL, 10 for the NL. So, if I'm a Cub fan, I'm seeing this AL win. I'm not that worried about it because I'm still, regardless, getting 3 games in my home ballpark if I make it come October, November.
I mean, if you're talking World Series and Cubs, I mean, you got a long way to go, pal. You still have a long time. It's been a long time. You still have a long time. At least being a Sox fan, I can still go back to 2005 for the next few years.
Sox fans,
until the Cubs do something. I mean, they did go to the playoffs and they did okay, but it was, man.
I don't know a Sox fan
got you beat this one.
That doesn't bring up 2005.
Because listen to me. The Sox, so they are struggling the past few years, and right now they started out hot, now they're just in the crapper. I'll give you that one. But when you look at playoffs and World Series in the past 100 years, I mean, I only bring up the 100 years because the Cubs haven't done anything too special with those last 100 years. The Sox have 2005. They had a fantastic team. Now, the problem is, they in 2006, when they got rid of all their players, traded them off, and did everything, I think they were just trying to rebuild and try to make a point or something. I don't know what they were doing. I thought they had a team for the next.
You thought they could have built something more successful.
Absolutely, but,
Yeah, it is what it is, man. I mean, that NLCS last year, while you guys sat at home, we shouldn't even. It's the beginning of the show here, and we're already getting a little bit heated. We're going to save that for when we get.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about them later.
Right, we got them coming up here in just a few short minutes, so
we'll get back to them there.
Yeah, what I want to stick with right here is Yulieski Gurriel if you don't know that name, you're probably gonna hear about him more than a few times coming up here this season alone. Cuban defector. He defected in the winter. He's 32 years old, along with his little brother also defected. He's 22 years old, 10-year difference there. Both very good baseball players. The younger brother is considered to need a couple of years maybe in the minor leagues once he signs with the team. But Ulieski is ready to go now. This is exactly, he was just cleared to sign as a free agent not too long ago, and they said he was going to have a huge impact on the pennant race, and I think he's going to. Houston Astros signed him. He's 32, gets a 5-year, $47.5 million deal. When you look at it, short term, I think it's a really good move for the Astros. You're getting a really, really good, solid bat in the middle of your lineup. He plays 3 positions in the infield. So if you need help there, Luis Valbuena is their third baseman right now. Not exactly a household name. Obviously, up the middle, they're set for years to come with Altuve and Correa, but even if you want to slide Valbuena to first and play Gurriel at third, your infield looks a lot better already. And this guy can flat out hit. I just think the 5 years at age 32 is
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a little excessive. What's the?
32. I mean, paying him $47.5 million. That's kind of bold, in my opinion. I'd say a 3-year contract at maybe, let's say, $30 million. Maybe $25 million would have been a better stance, only because age 35. I mean, it's kind of a nice age to retire. And with baseball, I mean, aren't they guaranteed that even if they do retire?
Every cent they get, yeah.
So, I mean, I understand he is still a pretty phenomenal player, but I think a smarter move, in my opinion, would have just been a 3-year deal, nice and easy, play it safe. But again, I'm not that much of a baseball expert, so.
I agree with, maybe you should have tried to go short term with him. I think this was a classic case of the market drove the price. So there was other teams bidding on him, maybe teams you're competing with. So you got to go out there. You got to make that move. You got to make that offer that can get him to your team. Right? Yeah. I think that's why this happened. We're going to see this kid in coming weeks. You're going to hear his name on this podcast again. I guarantee that. So look forward to that. Look forward to watching this guy play, especially when he's hitting. This guy has a sweet bat, a sweet swing. I remember watching him in the World Baseball Classic a couple years ago. He's played in the Olympics, too, for Cuba. So it's going to be pretty interesting to watch coming up down the stretch here in the season. Now, in the AL, Boston Red Sox made another trade. They've made 3 trades already. They're in second place in the AL East right now. They're behind Baltimore by a couple games. Their GM and President of Baseball Operations, Dave Dombrowski, is sending a clear message. He wants to win now. He wants to win big. Funny story about Dombrowski is, he's actually kind of a local guy. He's from, he has family in Homer Glen.
You're kidding.
No.
Did not know that one.
I played baseball with one of his nephews when we were kids. So it's kind of...
Well, now if you ever meet him, you got something to talk about.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like a funny tidbit on that. But when he was in Detroit, before Boston, you saw this all the time. You saw this guy going big. You saw him trade. I'll trade whoever I need to get the talent I need to win right now. And this, I think, is a classic case of that. He gets Drew Pomeranz from the San Diego Padres. He was an all-star this year, ERA under 3, but he trades the 4th best prospect in his system, 18-year-old pitcher Anderson Espinoza. Everybody, all the scouts say this guy has got special stuff. So that is the question, do you give up a 4th best prospect he's only 18, so obviously a lot can happen there. But are you giving up these young guys to go and get a 27-year-old lefty who's unproven up until this year when he made the All-Star team?
In my opinion, I'd stick with the young guy. I mean, he's got all this time to grow, all this time to mature, and in any sport really, I think the young guy definitely over, especially in this case, the young guy, absolutely.
Yeah, I tend to agree, sticking younger, but I can see why these moves happen. I can see why this specific move.
I mean, it's understandable, especially if this was like his the breakout year for the 27-year-old. But again, I think it's safer, better play to stick with the younger guy.
Yeah, obviously with Espinoza being 18, he's got a lot higher ceiling, you would think. But he also, a lot could happen. He could get injured. He could have Tommy John. He could tear an ACL. But obviously, risk reward to both sides. But Dombrowski's going to do what he's got to do. This guy, he also added the Diamondbacks closer, Brad Ziegler, for almost nothing. This guy, he's like 38 years old. He's like the weirdest closer in the league. This guy, he throws like a top of 84 miles an hour. He's a submarine pitcher. His slider probably breaks about 2 feet across the zone. That's his pitch. But he also added Aaron Hill, who's an infielder. So those were the smaller moves. Aaron Hill is kind of a role player off the bench. He could play a bunch of positions.
Mm-hmm.
Ziegler is the piece in your bullpen, who, if you remember in episode 1, talking about who we think should add what, I did say that Boston was looking to add relief pitching, also a starter, but they want to bolster the bullpen, so check that one off to me for being right. Adding Ziegler.
Good for you, Joey.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm just always looking out for myself. All right. So now let's roll into Cubs and Sox. Let's see the positions they're in.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about it. The Cubs 55-36, 8 games up on St. Louis, 8.5 up on Pittsburgh. Basically, their chances at making the playoffs are pretty close to 100%.
I mean, I hate to admit it, especially being a Sox fan, but the past couple of years, the Cubs have been able to do something. And it really hurts to say that the Cubs are better than the Sox right now, but I mean, it's true. I know at the very beginning of the season, they were kind of neck and neck, but then the Sox, whatever happened, they fell off. Kind of got back up there and then kind of went back down. The Cubs kind of maintained it all throughout.
Even in that little spurt of games they had going into the break where they were just not good,
Mm-hmm.
they're not losing this lead.
Right.
Because in baseball, it's kind of like this. Say you've got a 10-game lead, which the Cubs did have a 10-game lead in the division for quite some time this season. 10-game lead takes about a month to make up a 10-game lead in baseball, at least, because the team up 10 games has got to play terrible baseball.
Right, and then the team behind them has to win throughout.
Right, you've got to win constantly.
Right.
Because, so you're looking at the Cubs 8 games up with about 2 months left to go. I mean, it's looking pretty good for them to make the playoffs. If they want to make a late run into the playoffs, they got to add. I've been saying this now for weeks here, but they've been linked to Josh Reddick from Oakland a lot. He's a rental player. They need help in the outfield. Solaire's been hurt all year. Fowler, he's got that hamstring. While Fowler's on his way back, but hamstrings are tricky injuries. Let me tell you this. Hunter Pence from San Francisco, he's on a rehab stint. He tore his hamstring straight off the bone earlier this season, had surgery. First rehab game back, he left the game holding his hamstring again. Mm-hmm. So it's like a back. If your back is messed up, if your hamstring is messed up, it's tricky to come back from, especially if you do it too soon. So I like to see them linked to another outfield bat. And I really would love to see some relief pitching. I know, again, I've been saying this for weeks now, but you need to look at this bullpen. You need to look Clayton Richard in the eye and say, listen, bud, you're just not cutting it anymore. Mm-hmm. You got to go. You got to go. This guy is trash. If they left this guy in a city, in an alley, where he was he's worthless, basically what I'm trying to say. But, they need to add pitching, a lot of it, I think, in the bullpen. Rondon is solid. Strop is inconsistent at best. Trevor Cahill's on the DL right now, so we don't know what's going to come of him. Clayton Richard, you just heard my thoughts on him. That guy's garbage. So, that's what I think about that. They did, however, take 2 of 3 from Texas these last 3 days, this weekend series. So that's promising for them to come out of the break, because they went in the break. They played 24 straight games.
Right.
That's brutal.
That's tough.
That's brutal.
That is tough.
And people say, well, they're paid to do this, yada, yada, yada. The Sox played like 21 straight. The Sox played 21 straight in the beginning of the year, like April. You're coming fresh off an off-season. That is what it is. This is in the middle of the year, June into July. You're playing every day. You're getting no days off. You got guys who are injured, so you're obviously the load is that much bigger for those guys like Rizzo, Bryant, because you're not getting all those days off because your team is so hurt. But plain and simple, they're looking real solid. Funny, though, a little something. Actually, not even funny. I think it's kind of more weird than it is funny with the Cubs. Jason Hamill. He had a good start this weekend, 6 innings against the Rangers.
Oh, Jason.
Got the win. Yeah, Jason.
Oh.
Why are you telling people this? Goes to the doctor. He's been dealing with a lot of cramps, I guess. And the doctor tells him, eat potato chips and you'll be fine. And he says potato chips are going to save his season. So,
you know what else might save your season there, pill? Maybe some Mito or Pamprin.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Cramps.
Cramps.
And where are the cramps at? It's
his hand and his leg.
Okay. Well, I guess as a pitcher, that is kind of a big deal. But at the same time, they're cramped.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. That's a weird thing. I've never heard that.
Yeah. I think it's even weirder that the potato chips are the thing that's
right.
If you're prescribed.
All right, if I'm a doctor, and I don't know anything about being a doctor, but The last thing I'm prescribing, that was the word they used, was prescribing, is potato chips. Yeah, your cramps are going to go away, but your cholesterol is going to be skyrocketing in the coming weeks. Like,
oh, boy.
Thanks, Doc.
Oh, Jason.
Yeah,
do you think that affects his performance in bed by any chance?
I would assume it does.
I mean, as a pitcher, if you're cramping up on your legs and your hand for pitching, I'm assuming you're going to start sticking to catching if you catch my drift.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time there. Yeah.
Jason, maybe stretch out a little bit, rub some dirt on it, do something.
Get some of that Gold Bond.
My God.
Wake up in the morning, hit that knee with some Gold Bond, dude. That stuff works miracles. Yeah.
But I guess it never really is easy. Cramps in the hand and foot as a pitcher, it just...
You can see why it affects him so much as
absolutely.
a pitcher. Right. We're just joking around a little bit,
hopefully he can take care of that. Hopefully the chips do help him out, settle in, and he can come back 100%, help the Cubs out for the rest of the season and into the offseason or the playoffs.
Yeah, there's no offseason. There's going to be a playoffs.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Jason, just a word of advice if for some reason you see this and you want to go, and if you do see this, I'd be willing to take some of your salary for the season to help with the podcast. But I would not tell the media this. If it's me in this situation, this doctor tells me this because of cramps, I would just kind of leave that out. I don't know why you felt the need to tell reporters this. You know what I mean? Like, I guess he just doesn't care.
I guess it's pretty funny. If I was a professional athlete, I love to joke around, be funny and everything like that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it kind of gives more spotlight to him.
Gotcha.
Just because, hey, this is the guy, potato chips are his medicine.
Right.
It kind of puts a name out for him. Granted, he does have his name, decent name for himself already, but just kind of adds to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess I could see that angle where, kind of he's being talked about now. Maybe he thinks this is taking some pressure off some other guys on his team.
Could be.
Something
Definitely.
like that. Yeah, this late in the year. But I just thought that was kind of weird, kind of funny, a little strange.
Mixture of everything, really.
Yeah. Mixture of that stuff, yeah.
Feel better, Jason.
Yeah, keep throwing, if potato chips are going to keep with the quality starts, eat 3 bags a day.
I recommend Lay's barbecue.
Oh, phenomenal.
Can't go wrong.
Phenomenal chip.
Can't go wrong.
Lay's, if you're watching this, sponsor me. Yeah. Or I would recommend some Ruffles, sour cream, and
sour cream all the way.
And cheddar.
Sour cream all the way.
Solid chip right there. Anyways, White Sox, man, this is rough to watch. This is 45-46, 9 games out of the division. It's an unwinnable division for the White Sox, in my opinion. I would say that's a pretty correct opinion.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. As much as I'd hate to, yeah.
So this weekend they scored a total of 1 run.
Yep. 1. Out of 4 games. Yeah, that speaks for itself, really.
That's terrible. Like not even as a Cub fan, as a baseball fan, that's hard to watch. Right. I'm not watching that game.
Yeah, it's those games.
So they got shut out in 3 of the last 4. They scored 1 run today, but lost by 7 anyways. Albert Pujols hit 2 bombs. So, and you lost a game. You lost one of those shutouts was to the Braves. You got swept by the Angels, who also aren't very good. Going back to the Braves, are the worst team in the league. Like that's a team that sold everything. Wink, wink. White Sox, take a page out of their book. They sold everything in the offseason to get prospects, and it's kind of looking good for them right now because the guy they traded to Arizona, Shelby Miller, they got the number 1 pick in last year's draft for him. He's in AAA right now because he's been terrible all year long. It's working out great for them. Yeah. So White Sox, I would say, look at the team, Atlanta, you just played. Take a big chapter out of that book. I'm talking to you, Rick Hahn. I'm talking to you, Kenny Williams. Jerry Reinsdorf, please sell this team if you're not going to rebuild. It's so
tough words, but it's something that definitely needs to be looked at.
It aggravates me. It really does because maybe it's because I'm a little bit more new school, and my dream job would be to run a baseball team as GM. But when you see something like this, how do you not want to just go and tear it down, start over? It's brutal for your fans to go watch a game where you just can't even score a run. Your team looks miserable on the field. Your manager loses you games constantly. It is pitiful.
It just sucks. At the very beginning of the season, they started out great, and now they just fall off, and it doesn't seem like they can figure out what the hell went wrong.
They can't. I take back everything I said last week, how it was looking up for them. They won 5 straight series. It has just gone straight down on that curve. They're an absolute joke. It's terrible. I can't stand it. The only thing you need to do is listen to this sentence right here. Trade everything. Fire everybody. Build around Tim Anderson. That's it. The only bright spot for them right now is they just called up Carson Fulmer, who was their number one pick. Not the number one pick, their first-round pick last year. And he was from Vanderbilt. He had a lot of success there.
Mm-hmm.
Really great in the College World Series. This kid, I love the kid. They called him up from Double-A. So he's in the bullpen. He pitched today, a scoreless inning. So good start for him. But, man, you trade, if they get rid of Sale, Quintana, Frazier, Melky, Adam Eaton, that's 5 players that you could trade right now. Jose Abreu, that guy's doing terribly this year.
I'll agree to most of that, except for Chris Sale, because his record right now for pitching, what is he? 12-1.
He's got 14 wins.
He's got 14.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't get rid of him, but the others, I'd agree to that.
Here's my rebuttal to not getting rid of Chris Sale. Guess who's going to get you the most back? Go ahead. I'll wait. I'll wait for you to guess. Are you not going to guess?
Nope.
You're not going to guess.
Nope.
You're not going to say that Chris Sale will get you the most back. I get Sox fans love the guy. He's a great pitcher. He's a great talent. He's a great guy. All that. He's got a great contract. Everybody loves that. You're getting 3 of a team's top prospects for this guy. That right there puts your system in way better shape alone. Then you get those role prospects. I call them BC prospects. You get those for Jose Abreu. You get rid of Melky, you get a couple guys. Adam Eaton gets you a pretty decent return. I'm sure the New York Mets would give you a lot for Todd Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
They're in desperate need of a third baseman. David Wright, he's got the neck injuries, he's got the back injuries, whatever. They need a third baseman badly. That guy hits bombs, so they could use that. I mean...
You know, Joey, I hate when you're right. I really do.
Yeah. You know what? I love when I'm right, man.
You know, go to hell.
Yeah,
Go to hell.
I'll see you there.
Absolutely.
But, man, I look at this and I'm like, Jerry Reinsdorf, hire me. Take a chance on a 21-year-old kid who's going to make your team a winner in 5 years. Here's my resume right here. Listen to this right here.
Let's see if this podcast can reach out to him.
Give me a job, Jerry Reinsdorf. Get it trending on Twitter. Get a petition started. Get a GoFundMe page going. I don't know. I don't care. It's got to be fixed. I can do it. Plain and simple. Man. It gets me angry. I'm not a White Sox fan. Like I got friends that are diehard fans. They've been fans since they were kids, since I've known them. Mm-hmm. And man, they know what it feels like to be a Cub fan for a little while. How about that?
All right, Bill. Whatever you say, dude.
All right, let's move on. We're gonna play buy or sell. I'm gonna say whether a team should buy or sell. Jack's gonna tell me if I'm smart or if I'm dumb. You ready for this, buddy?
Go ahead.
All right, buy or sell. White Sox. You heard what I had to say already. This one's obvious. Sell all the way. Get rid of everything. Jack, am I smart or dumb?
I hate to admit it, but it's a smart move.
Yeah.
It is a smart move.
Yeah, I love it when you tell me I'm right.
Stop talking.
I love it.
You know, we can just end the podcast right here if you really want to.
But we're not going to. We're not going to do it.
I will shut her down.
Well, the thing is, you could just overpower me based on pure size, but
I won't.
You won't do that. Yeah, no, you're a good guy.
Surgery's hold me back from that.
Yeah, the New York Yankees, I will also say sell. You are 9 games out of the division. You are not going to have pieces like this at all times. You know, Carlos Beltran's 37, 38 years old. He's having one of the best years he's ever had, especially in a long time since he's been a Yankee. You can get a good return for him right now. Andrew Miller, Dellin Betances, Aroldis Chapman. These are 3 guys that can turn your system around. The Yankees do not have a lot of prospects in-house because of the way they go about building a team, spending a lot of money in free agency, constantly competing. They don't get those high draft picks. So I think they should sell.
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, okay.
I'll agree to that.
You will agree to that. I am once again...
Right, okay.
Sweet. Okay, the Royals, I am surprisingly going to say sell on the defending champs. They're out. They're 8 games out of this division. This is a division that is going to be won by Cleveland.
Let's put it this way. Didn't the White Sox beat them in their last matchup?
The White Sox play the Royals tough. Those division games, those division games are always tough. So
pretty sure they took that.
Well, the Royals have also, that one series where the bullpen blew 3 consecutive big leads.
Yeah, that's very true.
God, that was fun. I'm going to say sell. Cleveland's going to win this division. You're not. The wild card is tough because Baltimore is really good, Boston's really good, Toronto's really good in the East, and in the West, Seattle's really good, Texas is really good, Houston's really good. It's going to be tough to get into the playoffs, and then if you get in that wild card game, obviously if you lose, you go home. So get rid of what you can. The Royals are a smaller market team. They like to save money because they don't have as much of it to spend as, say, a Yankees, but sell off whatever you can and kind of rebuild to make a small rebuild, mini rebuild, because they do have some stars. They need pitching badly. So I'll say sell on them again.
Agreed.
I'm smart once more. Toronto Blue Jays. I'm going to say buy for them. They're only 3 games out in the East. Like I said, they're one of the teams that are in that wild card contention right now. They can hit the crap out of the ball. Encarnacion, Bautista, Donaldson's reigning MVP. Tulo, if he gets it going. Kevin Pillar's been good. Russell Martin will get better. Their lineup is stacked.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I'm pretty sure I'm just with you on all these.
Yeah?
It sounds like you. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that one as well.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta get pitching, in my opinion. Marcus Stroman's having a rough year, but don't worry, Strosto. You're still a god in my mind. You are a beast. Height doesn't measure heart, Jack.
It does not.
You know what that is? HDMH. If you don't know who Marcus Stroman is, go look up the story. This kid's 5'9". He's pitching in the major leagues. Like, come on. That's crazy. He throws mid-90s.
I mean, as a basketball player, I can tell you that height is not everything.
No, it's not.
It is not.
But you don't see many Major League Baseball pitchers who are under 6 feet tall.
No, that's very honest.
Trust me, I tried. It didn't work out. New York Mets, I will also say buy. You heard me say when talking about the White Sox, they should add Todd Frazier because they need that third baseman. They need offense desperately. I mean, you look at it, you went to the World Series last year. You got to add offense, period. You've got the pitching. Everybody knows about the Mets pitching. It's dominant. It's lit behind on the mound for them, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. And then the last one, Colorado Rockies. This one should be obvious. They should sell. I just don't know why they haven't moved Carlos Gonzalez yet. That's basically my only thing. Was I 6 for 6 there, Jack?
I think so. The Rockies, I really don't know much about them. Haven't really been paying close attention to them, so I'm really out for that one. But the other 5, I think you nailed on the head.
Yeah, I think I did also. Personal opinion there, but it's a little biased.
Yeah,
it is me. But,
it happens.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the ESPYs. We had the ESPY Awards this week on Wednesday, I believe. So, what's your thoughts on the ESPYs overall?
ESPYs overall, I'm a big fan. I do like the way they go about it. They have some pretty valuable awards in there. The Pat Tillman, the Jimmy V. Probably my favorite is the Jimmy V one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The only problem I have with them is they don't really go into great depth with most of the awards.
No, they don't.
I mean, I guess with the Pat Tillman and Jimmy V, it's more of a captivating award, more to go in depth with. I mean, nobody's really going to sit. You can't really do a whole lot with, best player of the year, stuff like that.
Right.
It's not as meaningful.
Yeah.
When you have people fighting against cancer, like they do something heroic, like Xavier Dobson, of course you got nothing but time to go into detail about it. But again, overall, I do like the ESPYs. Definitely wasn't fun 3 hours to watch.
Absolutely.
John Cena, I mean, he wasn't too bad. I know people are giving a lot of crap about it, but yeah. But I mean, as a WWE wrestler, I mean, can you really be that great of a host?
He did a lot better than I thought he would.
Yeah, absolutely. He had a couple good jokes, I thought.
Yeah.
So overall, not too bad given his circumstances.
Right.
But.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I love the ESPYs. I mean, sports is basically all I watch on TV. So every July, I look forward to these ESPYs, and I always love to see who's going to host it. And I was actually kind of intrigued by the John Cena choice, but as we saw in his opening monologue, he kind of felt the sense in the room that people were like, "Why did they pick John Cena to host this?" And he kind of attacked that, kicked it under the rug, and
I just went on with it.
Yeah, he
just took care of business.
He did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would agree with that. They don't really go into detail on a lot. Like, what I would like to see when you're going up for, best play, I want to see, like, a longer, couple more angles maybe on that LeBron block.
That was nice.
Man, that's a sick block. But I
guess they could add in a couple more opinions of people just to kind of stretch a little bit, just to get a more...
Like someone on the side who's reporting at the ESPYs who can talk. Yeah. I like that idea. I think there's way too many commercials, too. Yeah. Like, they cut to commercial constantly, and it bugs me. But, yeah, overall, it
wouldn't bother me so much if they cut to commercial so often if they would throw a couple more awards in it and then go to commercial. They go award, commercial. Big award, half hour, okay.
Half hour speech.
And then commercial. That's understandable.
Yeah.
But it's just the constant award to commercial in such a rapid pace just bugs the hell out of me.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that's so dumb to go, award, we'll throw in 7 commercials, like 7 independent commercials, obviously, in one break. But
and I guess the other side to that is they do have a limited amount of awards that they give out, so I guess they have to get a time frame as well.
And ESPN selfishly, or whoever aired this thing, ABC, is selfishly they're making tons of money on commercials and the
Yeah.
advertising, like tons of money.
So I guess from their standpoint, that's
it makes sense.
Smart.
As a viewer, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't watch commercials anymore. Nobody watches commercials anymore. So, we're gonna give you guys a little rundown of the best award, which I guess we mean the result of the award being the best, and then the worst award, and the result of that again being the worst we thought. So go ahead, best award.
My best award was the Jimmy V Award, given to Craig Seager.
Yeah.
Definitely on with that 100%. Seeing him, they showed a little montage of him like every morning how he goes to get treatment for cancer and everything. I was not aware that he goes. There was one clip he showed where he, I forget what game he was covering that night.
San Antonio.
Yeah, it was that morning he gets to the hospital at 8 a.m. and then he's there for 2-3 hours, and then right away goes out to the game, gets it rolling, does whatever he has to do. And he was just kind of saying how he does that almost every day. There's times where he's away from his family all the time because of his procedure and everything. But when they touched on it, it just kind of shows like, hey, he's not giving up. This is what he wants to do. This is his life. And I mean, he does great at it, and you can't blame him for it.
Right. Yeah, that's also my best award. I have so much respect for Craig Sager.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the suits,
Absolutely.
Man, that guy's
number one right there.
Yeah, that guy's got style. Like, I respect the hell out of Craig Sager. To do what he does, chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is physically draining, and that's physically, and then it's mentally draining too. To do that, that's a grind right there. To be able to not miss a game, because he said it. He doesn't want to miss a game because he doesn't want to feel like he's losing this.
Right,
battle.
he doesn't want to feel defeated.
Yeah, and I mean, God, he's had cancer 3 times. Like who deserves to go through that? Like nobody does.
But he makes the best of it. He stands up. He does his thing.
So much respect for that guy.
And I agree with LeBron after the the finals game that he covered, when he asked him how it took him all this time to finally cover a game, that finals and everything. He should have been there from day one, in my opinion.
That's blasphemous to me. To use a Stephen A. Smith word right there. Blasphemous. This guy's been doing this for 34 years. He's been doing this for longer than I've been alive, almost longer than both of us have been alive if you put our age together. Like, that's crazy for him to... He covers NBA the whole season on, TBS, TNT, whatever. Turner owns them. So, for ESPN to not let him get on a game, I think, is super... It's a terrible move. So that's got to change.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean, that guy, he's a stud, honestly.
Oh, hands down.
You see his wife? Yeah, he's doing well for himself.
Oh, absolutely.
He is, yeah. And let's give our worst awards now. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. Yeah. It was the best moment award of sports. They put the Cavaliers had the best moment. I mean, I guess LeBron's block was pretty impressive. I stood up and I was cheering. It was amazing.
God, it was amazing.
However, I still think that the best moment this year in sports was Villanova's win over North Carolina at the buzzer.
That was
hands down.
That was a special thing. Yeah, you don't see that all the time.
No, and especially having Michael Jordan in the audience, having him being a player at North Carolina, just to see that happen to him. I mean, I'm a fan of Michael, but anytime something like that happens, it's a sweet feeling.
Spur the crying Jordan memes right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was
great.
I've seen that meme way too many times, but seeing it from that game, that's hilarious. That's the time that I will.
That was perfect.
I'll allow that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And even like when the camera cut to LeBron, Jordan, you saw that he acknowledged it was a great shot. It was a great play. It was.
You're getting respect.
He couldn't deny that.
Right. Yeah. So Jenkins is just getting that mad respect from the greatest player ever. Yeah. My worst award is the award for best jockey to Mario Gutierrez. Yeah, that's exactly the reaction that I had.
I thought the horses were running.
They are.
I didn't know jock. I mean, I understand jockeys have to help them out and everything, but come on,
man. I about turned my TV off when you threw it away.
I didn't know about that until as of last week. That's
horrible. Yeah. I mean, congrats, Mario.
I guess
happy for you, but
you should take that horse.
Should take the award. I think they should just take the award out.
Yeah. Make
a different award that's going to have more impact on the show.
Let's give the award to the horse.
Yeah, or bring the horse on stage. Yeah, that's a better idea. God, man, that was stupid. So that covers the ESPYs, a little recap for you. Not going to go into detail on every single award because that would take way too much time. Okay, so when we left off, we were kind of talking about the ESPYs, I believe is where we left off. Well, let me just explain kind of what happened. So last night when we were recording this, a combination of things went wrong. The power went out because it was storming real bad, and then my SD card was full, so we could not finish recording the podcast last night.
Joey really brings you nothing but the best here.
Nothing but the best for my fans, yes. So not much we could really do about that,
I blame that budget of yours.
Oh yeah, that budget. I don't got any money, so it's pretty pathetic. But we are ready. We are back, ready to finish this off. We don't have much left here. We're going to cover some of the NFL stuff that's been happening in the past week. As we get closer to the NFL season, we're probably 50 days away, I'd say, from preseason play, if not less. I mean, fantasy football is right around the corner, so you are starting to see more and more football in sports news every single day. So this week, kind of something that I've heard way too much over the past couple of years, the Deflategate scandal with Tom Brady and his gorgeous self. He is finally going to... And that wife of his, yes. He is going to serve that 4-game suspension he received for allegedly... I'll say allegedly. I think it happened. I don't think he did it. So.
I don't know if he did it, but it happened.
Well, it happened, but I don't think it was his fault. 4-game suspension for deflating the footballs in the AFC Championship game, which, by the way, they won by more than 30 points, so I don't think deflated balls had anything to do with that. So he's not going to take him to the Supreme Court. He's going to serve the suspension, and that's going to leave the Patriots with Jimmy Garoppolo, Eastern Illinois University alumni, starting the first 4 games as it stands right now. I think that puts the Patriots in a bad spot. I think the gap between Tom Brady and Garoppolo is huge, considering Garoppolo is very inexperienced, and obviously Tom Brady's probably the best quarterback of all time. So, just a little note on that. What do you think? What do you think Tom Brady's gonna be doing during that 4-game suspension?
Banging his wife. Wow. I mean, that's all he's really got going on for him right now.
That's it, huh?
No, I mean, he'll just do what most quarterbacks do when they're either out or whatever's going on. They'll just kind of
mentor.
Yeah, he'll have the headset on for him, kind of show him what to do. I'm sure they won't go too crazy with him, but I'm sure Brady will just try to give sight of what he thinks he'll be able to take care of and just go from there, really.
Right, kind of play that dad role for Garoppolo. Yeah. Which I kind of like his talent, but, Tom Brady, obviously, like I just said, probably the best of all time. And also this week, we had the franchise tag deadline. So what that means is if you don't sign a long-term deal by when it was last Friday, you have to play under the franchise tag, which is the average salary of the top 5 paid players at your position. So really, if you get franchise tag, the only thing is it's not a long-term deal. Obviously, it's a 1-year tender, but you're making the average of the top 5 paid players at your position. So you're making a really good sum of money right there. But Von Miller, obviously, this guy's a stud. Denver Broncos outside linebacker, won the Super Bowl. He gets his money. He got straight paid.
It was a nice chunk of change.
Wow, yeah. Highest for a defensive player in NFL history, beating Ndamukong Suh's contract last offseason. 6 years, $114.5 million. And I'll add to that $70 million guaranteed money. What are you going to do with $70 million?
I don't know.
This is...
buy a couple houses.
It's a lot of money. In my opinion, it's well-deserved money. This guy's an absolute beast. And this was a move that Denver had to do because if they don't sign him, there's teams that are going to call and ask to trade for this guy. Right. The Bears being one of those teams that were interested in, listen, if you don't sign this guy to a long-term deal, we will trade whatever we have to get this guy.
Yeah, and especially with Peyton Manning retiring, I mean, you need as much talent as you can keep just to keep it going, keep the Super Bowl winning team as much together as you can.
Because your starting quarterback is Mark Sanchez, and we all remember Mark Sanchez. I'm a Jets fan, so I know Mark Sanchez all too well.
That butt fumble, man.
Yeah, he'll never live that down. Man, it's pitiful.
So, yeah, the Broncos definitely need as much help as they can get, especially with Peyton Manning leaving and stuck with Sanchez.
Yeah, that defense carried them to the Super Bowl last year.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, this was something they needed to do. All their fans, I'm sure, are just ecstatic to get this guy back on a long-term basis. It's good to see for the NFL. I like those guys that will stay with the team that drafts them for as long as possible. Looking at the Jets, they signed Mohammed Wilkerson, 5 years, $85 million. This guy is a tank on the defensive line. He's probably the second best defensive end in the game, in my opinion. Obviously, J.J. Watt stands out above all else in the NFL on the defensive line, but Mohammed Wilkerson is a straight-up tank. This is well-deserved. It's a really great move for the Jets to keep them. And they got him a little cheaper than had anticipated, so this gives them some money to maybe finally sign Ryan Fitzpatrick to a short-term contract to kind of put the gap in there for hopefully a quarterback of the future that will come soon for the Jets. So real good move for them all around. And I hope to see good things out of him. I know he's going to be on the PUP list to start training camp. So hopefully Mo is back healthy and ready to prove to everybody that he's worth all that money. Now, not signing any long-term deals. We've got a couple players here that stand out. Alshon Jeffrey does not sign long-term with the Bears.
Wow, that's pretty big.
It's you know what? I think it's for a couple reasons.
Why do you think that?
I think he's had those injury problems in the past. I think the Bears they don't like the guessing game of whether he's going to be on the field with them. Also, I think last year he had to be the number one. They traded Marshall to the Jets, so he's got to step up, be the number one, and he didn't prove to them that he's more than the best number 2 wide receiver in football. So they look at this, they're like, all right. Are we going to pay him the same that A.J. Green gets? Are we going to pay him the money that Julio Jones is getting? No, we're not going to do that. We'll tag him. We don't got to worry about it. He can't do anything about this. End of story. Which I actually kind of think is smart on the Bears' part. If I'm the GM, I'd probably do the same thing, if I'm Pace. So another one, Washington Redskins, Kirk Cousins. This doesn't surprise me at all, to be honest. This guy wanted to get paid. He had a great year last year, but he was also a backup quarterback, not drafted high by the Redskins. He was in the same draft as RG3. So, he was a backup for all those years, and then he came out. He had a great year, don't get me wrong. He played amazing football, and I think he's got a bright future, but you got to make sure he's the real deal.
Right, he's got to have background. He's got to have consistency. Just one standout year doesn't really prove a whole lot. Yes, it proves that you have the ability to achieve that much, but if it's not consistent, it's...
Right. You got. You can see the talent. You just need to see it backed up. Yeah. So I think that's also a pretty good move for the Redskins. Hopefully he has a good year. I'd like to see him play well again. I think he's a good guy. It was a game he threw a game-winning touchdown at the end of the game, and he came into the locker room and he starts screaming again, "Like you like that?" And getting in people's face. I love that. I love that passion about the game right there. So yeah, I think that about does it for this episode of the Sports Corner. Want to thank you guys all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter. The handles will be in the description below. Make sure you leave any comments for us. Please, please, please give feedback to us.
Constructive criticism is always accepted.
Absolutely. And I want to thank Jack for coming out. You
Glad to be here.
Most likely see him on a few more episodes here in the summer. Probably a lot more episodes in the future. And hopefully he's a part of a lot more content that we want to expand on the channel. So...
Once you get more things I know to talk about, we'll get rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Yeah, go ahead. You got any closing messages for the people out there?
Not a whole lot. Just thanks again for having me, and just as usual, stay classy.
All right, we're gonna stay super classy for you. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.
Perfect.